What's up everyone, Nick here from TechOrb, and in this episode of TechOrb we're going to be taking a look at some changes that Microsoft is actually making to the new version of Windows 8, and also we'll be taking a look at two new moons that have been found orbiting Jupiter. So without further ado, let's get started with this episode of TechOrb. Okay, so first of all, Microsoft is actually changing some of the names and getting rid of some features actually in the new version of Windows 8. So one of the things that you've probably heard recently is that they are changing the logo for Windows 8. It's not a big, like a big deal or anything, but it is kind of one of those things that they are kind of changing from their current other logos, like from Windows 7 and stuff. And they are saying that the little windows or whatever in front of the name are actually now windows instead of flags like what they used to look like. So you have to call them windows now because that's kind of what Microsoft is trying to do. I don't know why they're doing this. They're just kind of changing stuff up a little bit, which I guess is good. Change is good, but I mean, that's just one of the changes that they're doing. But kind of the bigger stuff that they're doing is they're actually dropping Zune and Windows Live from the Windows 8 experience. This means that a lot of the applications in there will be changing names, such as Windows Live ID will now be called your Microsoft account. So I'm not sure how much this is going to change any of the features with that, but it will be called Microsoft account. So I don't know if there will still be Windows Live, other features of that, or what's going to happen. But there are a few more changes. For example, they're just going to have basic applications. So for like Mail, instead of Windows Live Mail, it'll just be called Mail. And I'm guessing this is going to be included in the operating system as it was not in Windows 7. Also, there's going to be Calendar, which is basically just Windows Live Calendar. And for their Contacts application, they're actually changing it to People. Now, this is kind of surprising because for the past, very long time, we've been always calling our, I guess you'd call them contacts. We haven't really called them people. It just kind of makes it a little bit more confusing when you talk about that, because that kind of makes it sound like it's some sort of social network thing, but it's basically just your contacts. So, I mean, even on the Mac they call it Address Book. So, I mean, it's not incredibly different, but it just doesn't sound like something that, people, it doesn't sound like something you'd use. Although Contacts probably is more familiar with people who have used computers for a while. If they're new to computers, People application will probably be more of a more simple to understand and stuff. I'm not sure exactly if they're changing the design. Well, I know they're probably changing the design, but if they're going to be changing the way that these applications work with their new Microsoft accounts. Also, instead of Windows Live Photo Gallery, they will now be having an application just called Photos. So I assume this will just be one application on your computer that will take care of all the Windows Live kind of stuff that you have now. Also, Music, Zune Music Player. It's just going to be called Music, so you'll just have a music application. There will be no Zune Music Player or anything because they're getting rid of Zune. It'll probably just be some Microsoft Store type thing. So that's basically what that's going to kind of be. And then also Video, like the Music Player, it'll just be the kind of new version of the Zune video player. Okay, now on to the second part of the video that we have kind of news on, that astronomers have actually found two new moons orbiting Jupiter. Astronomers in Chile on September 27, 2011 actually found two new moons orbiting Jupiter that they think might have been captured, or most likely captured, just by Jupiter's gravitational pull around the planet. These moons are J1 and J2, or the September 2011 J1 and J2 moons. They're very dim, they're very small. In fact, they're only 1 kilometer wide, so basically they are 0.62 miles wide, so they are very small, less than a mile. They're very hard to see. You can't see them with binoculars or anything like you can Jupiter's other moons, or a few of the other moons, the 3 big moons. But they are dim, they're very dim, they're not very reflective, and they are very distant. They take around 580 to 726 days to orbit around Jupiter, and they do orbit in a retrograde orbit, which basically means that they orbit backwards around the planet's rotation. So they basically orbit the opposite way, which most likely means that they were, in fact, just captured by Jupiter's gravity. So, I mean, the astronomers do think that there are more than 66 moons orbiting Jupiter. There may be lots more, but they just haven't found those yet. So that's pretty much it for this episode of Tech Orb. If you guys like having some science news mixed in with the technology news, leave a comment down below saying what you think about that. I kind of like reporting on some of that stuff too. It's kind of interesting. Not necessarily just what's going on in like the technology world, but also science kind of stuff. So I was kind of thinking, if you guys like that, if you guys want more science stuff, I could do like something technology and then a science kind of report, sort of. A lot of that stuff is kind of interesting. So just leave a comment down below what you think. If there's anything you want me to if you have any questions or anything, I might be doing a question and answer episode coming soon. If you have any questions, you can leave those over on the Facebook page, which will be a link down in the description, or you can leave them as a comment to this video, and I will try to answer those questions on a Q&A video coming up soon. So thanks for watching this episode of Tech Orb, and we will catch you later.